Hey guys! So a little bit of an unplanned video. If you remember from this video, I will magically put up something in post. I talked about how my Sakura Gelly Roll pen was dead, basically. So I went out and I bought a new one. But while I was there, I also happened to find this guy. And I have never used this before, technically. I mean, we played around with it at the store. But it's interesting because this is also a white gel pen. Different company, this is Uni-Ball, and I am gonna compare these two and see which one of these I like better. Alright, so let's get started. So these are just some quick examples that I just doodled down, so ignore the quality. These are Copic markers, this is Copic markers. This is graphite because I also use these, or I also use the Sakura for my graphite portraits. So I wanted to see how they would compare on both non-blended and blended graphite. And this is also a colored pencil, Prismacolor pencil, not blended, and this is blended with alcohol, which is link in the description for that tutorial. But anyway, so let's see how they compare. Alright, so I've already used the Sakura Gelly Roll pen for a while now, and I guess if you can see this is on my plain sketchbook paper. So I'm kind of used to how it works. Not bad, not bad. Okay, this is where it's struggling a little bit. It's not really coming off. But that's not surprising on that. I'm not shocked by that. This is pretty nice. The nice thing about this one is that it's brand new, so it's working better than my old one. So to compare with my old, several years old one, this is definitely better. This does pick up some of the graphite, and it did on the colored pencil too. It's probably impossible to see, but there's a little bit of green in the mark that I did up here. And you might be able to see that graphite where it picks it up. This does work better than my old one, so that's what I'm really comparing it to right now. And then I'll just do half of this girl. Okay, so that's Sakura Gelly Roll pen. I do have to say though, based off of my experience in the past with Sakura Gelly Roll, that I do have one major complaint that I noticed. I'm not seeing it right now, probably because it's brand new, but it does have a bit of a problem when the ball right here, because the ink is flowing around the ball, and it doesn't seem to drag well. Here, let me just draw it out with pencil. Basically, you would, instead of having this nice smooth path of the white gel pen, you would have something like that, where the ball is picking up the ink and you're left with this sort of empty gap underneath it. So this does do that after a while, which is kind of annoying because then you have to wait for it to dry and then go over it again to fill it up. So that was Sakura Gelly Roll pen. I'm still really happy with this. I'm eager to see how it compares with this one. So this is Uni-Ball Signo Broad, just pigment ink, white. Both of them are made in Japan. I guess if I were to have to compare the entire thing, this one is certainly lighter. I don't like the cap. I've always hated Sakura's caps. This is a much nicer cap. The grip feels nice. Like, it really holds well. This is not too bad. The quality difference is this one feels cheaper, but you know, probably because it is, but I'll get to prices later. Okay, so it feels pretty nice in my hand. I don't like this little bump right here. Probably should have done that first. That was a bit of an unfair start. There we go. I'm already noticing a difference, not even, wow, okay. Aside from how it's coming off on the paper, there's a noticeable difference when I'm using it. This ball is like, it feels scratchy. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but you can kind of hear a bit of scratching. as you're doing that. I don't know if it's actually scratching the paper, if it's the ball scratching the sides of itself or something, but yeah, so that's interesting. It is very interesting to see how it deals with that. I've had this ink on the paper has dried for a while now. It's completely dry. So that's interesting that it's actually bleeding through and it's not doing that with the Sakura. The annoying thing about these gel pens is you kinda gotta scratch them first. But yeah, that's interesting. And it does it really fast. Alright, so let's try on the Prismacolor. That's really similar to what, it even has a touch of green on it, just like the Sakura did. That's rather impressive. That's really bright, actually. Let me try the Sakura again. So it's handling itself better on the Prismacolor pencil versus the Copics, at least with the dark colors. With the lighter colors, or the black, I mean even this brown, it's pretty similar. I'm not really seeing that really a difference aside from the width of the ink. So it doesn't do so well on black, but it does just as good on the other colors. It does better on the Prismacolor pencil. And graphite, yeah, it's about the same. It didn't seem to pick up as much graphite though. Oh geez, wow. Okay, that's pretty different. Oh, that's so weird that it doesn't work here, but it works better on these two. Okay, last trial attempt here. I'm noticing that I don't have to press that hard and the ink just comes out. The problem that I'm finding is that it's quite globby and thick. So if you're doing a small picture like this, it probably won't work as well. If you want more like fine-tuned details, but it's definitely more opaque than the Sakura Gelly Roll. Like, I mean, the problem I mentioned before, you can kind of see it. It's not happening as much just because this is so new. And I think that's kind of the difference over here too. Just the dealing with the opaqueness, that the color seems more solid from this. Now Alex happened to buy his own Uni-Ball. He bought a silver one. He mentioned when he was playing around with it that if you want a thinner flow, that you just hold it upside down and the ink will go down to the bottom and then you can flip it and then have a less amount come out. That's just a technique that he mentioned while he was playing around that he noticed. The Sakura Gelly Roll definitely has a consistent flow. I feel like I have to press harder to get it to come out. Like, it's not really hard, like it's more than a pencil, like a tiny bit, but it's definitely a lot less than this. To get this going, I have to press it, like just to get the ink flowing. But then afterwards, I'm like barely holding it at all, and just the weight of the pen itself is like enough to have ink come out. In terms of pricing, I got both of these at Michael's. The Sakura Gelly Roll was, what was it? $1.99, and okay, fine. The Sakura Gelly Roll was basically $2, and the Uni-Ball pen was a bit more. It was $3.49 or $3.50. Yeah, so there's definitely that, if that's a concern for you. Just from this trial, I honestly like them both. They obviously have their pluses and minuses. Clearly, the Sakura Gelly Roll works better on at least black. I mean, I might have to try other darker colors later. This is actually W7 for you Copic people out there. So this is already pretty dark. And it worked just fine. I don't know if it's my black specifically or if it's the black ink that is somehow different that it's not working, but that's just something to keep in mind for the Uni-Ball pen. But if you use Prismacolor or you use graphite, this one is the one to go to. If you're doing large pictures, I would probably go with this one. It definitely fills up more space, it's definitely more opaque, but just because it's so gloppy and it comes out so thick that it's not good for small details. Unless you try holding it upside down for a while. But anyway, the Sakura Gelly Roll pen is nice for small details. There are some, if you want things to be a little bit more transparent, like this section right here is pretty thin and it's not that opaque, same with right here, then that's good. But if you want a solid white, you're gonna need 1 to 2 layers for that. And if you want a larger space too, you're probably gonna even wanna just switch to inks or paint for that, like with a brush and not this. This isn't too bad for something like that. I mean, even still for this drawing, like this pen, it's not that massive, but it just feels large, I guess. It definitely also shows up much clearer on this paper, despite the fact that this paper is so light. I can see this one better. It helps that it's thicker. But yeah, overall, I mean, they pretty much both have their pluses and minuses. I have not used this pen long term. This is the first time I've ever used this pen, so I don't know if it's going to end up having the same problem. I'm fairly certain this guy is going to, but at least he's got a little bit of time before that happens. If this happens with this pen, and I remember, I will try and let you guys know. But for right now, I'm surprisingly pleased with both of them, how they've turned out. I hope this one lasts as long as my previous Gelly Roll pen did, because these are really cool. So if you guys watch all those art YouTubers out there and you see them using this, there are definitely other options. Not only this, but other stuff on the shelves, so go ahead and like experiment and stuff and see what works. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers the gist of everything. I can't say there's a clear winner, so I'll leave that up to you guys. So yeah, hopefully you found this little review / comparison video helpful. If you guys try either of these out or a different tool, feel free to let me know how they went in the description down below. And thanks for watching. Bye!